start again. I'm down at the National Library, which is the original campsite. Over here they've set up tents and things, which all these trees had cars under it and campers. The place was just alive, and there's a lot of video on the group site there of what happened there. So I won't go into all the detail again, but the police ultimately moved them out of here because they said there was no permits to camp. Now there is, obviously. The vehicles were parked illegally, but there was no problems with trespassing, so they just came for the tents and the vehicles and moved everybody on. I was actually talking to one of the police negotiators that was running the LRAD, and he said, oh, you know, we've put sites on the police website that you can move your camp to. We want everyone to move. So they moved everybody to here in Canberra in Australia to a place called Epic. Epic exploded. They had I think there was at least 20,000 people that was there, and then from that it was private property. So the police came in after our big march that we had here, which probably had, I don't know, 200,000 or 300,000 people at least. The police came, said you're all trespassing, you got to get out, and they were, because it was private property, so they moved everybody on. They then went out in squads, which I personally saw, vanfuls of police, and removed everybody from within an hour of, at least an hour of this area. If you had an interstate number plate, you were being stopped, and you had flags on your car, you were being removed. So I spoke to women, children. They were arresting women and children. They would let them go because they wouldn't have a charge, but they were just terrorizing people to leave. It was pretty frightening to see an overreach of authority and power. So anyway, welcome online for anyone that is on. My name's Scott again. So we've set up this group just to tell you quickly. I think it's to celebrate freedom and hope. It's something to see pictures and videos of what's going on around the world. This started in Canada, came to Australia, New Zealand, and now is in the US and probably other parts of the world. So we're a global community, and as we see what each other are doing, it energizes us to keep going. So I think that's what's important here. So if you see on this site people that are trying to put on, you know, political things and, you know, opinions on vaccines and whatnot, it's not for that. So if we can not do that, if you see that sort of thing, just report it. We'll remove it. It's not that it's not valid, but there's plenty of places you can get that information. This site is just going to be for hope and freedom, and for us to see what's going on around the world, to know that we're not alone. Again, I think if we all play our part, that'll be fantastic. The authorities, my take on it is the authorities are drunk on power. And who knows, when you've got somebody who's drunk, you can't reason with a drunk man. You can't reason with a drunk woman. It's just not possible. And these authorities that are over our lives have got themselves drunk on power and acting like drunk men. They're not too caring of their family and what's around them, or women. I don't want to be sexist. So I think too, the other important thing I wanted to bring out with that is, as you know, it's like anger feeds anger, hate feeds hate. So if the authorities come against us, they've got a bigger stick, and the guy with the bigger stick is always going to win. And what's more foolish is when we attack with a stick thinking we can beat it, and we say, well, we the people. Yeah, we the people need to be a little smarter. Here in Australia, they shut us down, and currently a lot of what the freedom lovers are scattered all over the place. And you know, it'll come back together. But I think what's important is we do what we can where we are. And so I just wanted to touch on that real quickly. I'm not here to give any great advice, but I just think if we do what we can where we can, and And that might be having a barbecue with your friends, that might be talking to your family, inviting people to the group, things like that. It's really, I think it's just important we all get into the spirit of freedom, and we live in the spirit of freedom. And as we live in the spirit of freedom, freedom reigns. And you can't fight that. You can't fight the population when we're having, in Adelaide here in Australia, I know a group that went from here, they meet under a tree in Adelaide in one of the parks, and people just come and they talk together and they celebrate freedom, and it's a beautiful thing. We have to go organic. So this site is there again to show vision, to show pictures, to give hope, to give an understanding that this is not finished. No matter where you are in the world, this is a long game. We're not going to win it by attacking. We're going to win it by playing the long game for freedom. And so again, I'm not going to chat for too long, but I want to invite you to recruit your friends that you think would be interested in global freedom. It's been pretty great to watch. In 2 or 3 days, there's 500 and something members, and hopefully we'll all get a little more active in promoting and getting what we need to get. And I'm going to read this and say thank you for reaching out across the world. I'm in the US, and the convoy is huge and impressive. Yeah, thanks, Belinda. Belinda, I'm American. I'm born here in Australia, but I spent 18 years in primarily Boston and Washington DC. So I do love the American. But you know what you're bringing to the party now is the rest of Australia, or the world, Australia, New Zealand, even some of Canada. We've just been so run over by our authorities. But when America steps up and starts doing what you're doing, it's a roar that's going to be heard across the world. And I don't think the approach is to get aggressive, but it's definitely to be heard, because as we get aggressive, the authorities feed off of that. It justifies their actions. Power feeds off power, but they feed off our power. So if we don't give them power, we just love and we're smart, I think we're going to see some wonderful things. So yes, thank you. The US, we are watching, and we are excited to see that, well, I am, and I know many others that are, to see that as you all make a difference, it's going to make a difference here in where we live, and places like New Zealand, and I'm sure many others. So Belinda, I want to encourage you. I don't know if you're there, but put as much vision on as you can. Videos, pictures. Let us know what's going on around the world, so we can get hope to know that this is what's going on right now in America. And that's a cool thing. And when it kicks in here again, I haven't been able to get a concrete date, but apparently the 29th the government here is doing something, but that's a Tuesday, which is a work day. So I don't know if it's the 26th, the 27th, or the 29th. They're planning to have another rally here, which should be good. So I know around Australia there's also videos on our group of towns that came out to celebrate people, convoys coming down here to Canberra. That's not currently happening. That is older video now. But those towns and the people around, if you take up the cause for freedom and don't think there's nothing you can do, get there and just build freedom into your friends and your family, because nobody thinks freedom's important until they've lost it. People don't care about, they don't care until it affects them directly, and it will, because once you give people authority over your life, they don't back down, they keep going. So yeah, I'm just, wherever you are in the world, do your little things. Have a barbecue, a freedom barbecue. Go out in the park, have a freedom day in the park. And even if there's 5 people, that's brilliant, because that 5 will go to 5, and they call it mitosis, right? 5 goes to 10, 10 goes to 20, 20 goes to 40. And before we know it, off we go. Let me read what Belinda said here. From Maryland. Yes, I know Maryland very well. I lived in Woodbridge, Virginia, Dale City. Lucky we have a terrific governor, loving to see Australia and New Zealand. Canada is participating in this freedom movement. Yes, I'll continue to post when I can. That's fantastic. No, people don't understand they're losing their freedom. I think people are just wired for normal. And as long as we have normal, I can go to work, I can feed my family, and I'm comfortable, then why do I need to worry about all this other stuff? I got vaccinated, not me, but people think, you know, I get vaccinated and I didn't die, so it's all okay. Well, yeah, but so anyway, here in Australia, it's wound down. We had floods, and a lot of the people that were freedom fighters, or whatever you lovers, whatever you want to call them, have gone off to help in the floods. And that is important. But I think it's also important to remember that and it is tragic, people have lost their homes. But people have lost their homes with this as well. You know, we were meeting people here living in this park that have come from other states of Australia. They've lost their homes, they've lost their businesses, their families are divided over the vaccine. And that's something that's just not acceptable. So yes, there's a flood, and a flood is very visual, but there's a flood of authoritarianism that we don't want. So yeah, that's the message. So it's brief, it's short. Thank you. We'll try to do some more lives. There hasn't been a terrible large amount of people that have gone on this, which is absolutely fine because I think it's just important we start. And it has been brilliant to watch the group grab momentum in 2 or 3 days, over 500. The part that you could do, invite your friends, show them the vision, let them see what's going on around the world, ask them to encourage the others in other parts of the world that have quit. Extreme division due to COVID disagreements. That's true, Belinda. It's the same world over. I'm just hearing people say, you know, they're inside their own family. There's, you know, here, you're not allowed to see your grandchildren, you're not allowed to see your children unless you're vaxxed. And that's not something the authorities are doing. That's something that well-meaning people are doing, thinking that they're helping, and they're really bringing division to their own family. But when you're divided in your family, you don't have the strength to fight. So before I go, another encouragement, you know, choose your fights, because that very thing, if you get fighting your family, this whole thing will end. We will get freedom again, and you want to have your family with you. It's not worth the division in your family over this. I think it's the same with your life. Keep stable, don't chase the highs. Epic in Australia was our big camp, like your Hagerstown there in the US. We had that sort of thing. When that finished, everybody's looking for the high of the next thing, and they've gone off to all sorts of things to find that. That's exhausting. You've got to choose your fights. Live your regular life. Pick what you're going to do. When you're at home, just, you know, have barbecues for freedom. Catch the spirit of freedom, impart it to others, and I think that's what will keep this thing going around the world. So that's probably about it, I think. Yeah, let's just celebrate freedom globally, and I'll do another feed at some point, and we'll just see how it keeps going. But again, for the US, keep going. We sure need it over there, so that you guys are motivated here some more, and New Zealand, because and Canada, the government overreach was just tragic. Just, you know, arresting here, they arrested women and children. I was surprised. They would let them go, but they were just, yeah, just intimidating and trying to break the spirit of what was going on here, which, to a certain extent, they've certainly slowed it down, but I think it'll come back again. So thanks again. I met some of you through this, and just great people with a passion, and keep living your passion for freedom. Keep living the passion for life, and that'll take you where you need to go. So I'll see you next time, and if you have any questions or things, just send it along. And one quick thing to remember, this site is for freedom. It is for hope. We're not looking to put in political things and things on mandates and all sorts of, you know, vaccines and those sort of things. We all have a lot of opinion on that, but it's this is just a site for hope, to bring hope, so we can all see things are still going on. You can get that other information anywhere. So let's try to keep it simple. If you see stuff on there that's not appropriate, flag it for the admin and they'll remove it. And I want to thank the moderator, Melissa, that's come on from California. She's been doing a terrific job. So thank you, Melissa. And next time I will remember my audio. And we did have people listening when it started, so I got a new microphone, and it obviously is not very well. Me running it is probably not real great. So, all right, stay safe. Thank you, Belinda, for staying on and your input, and we'll do it again and see what we get going next time. God bless.